Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the 2024 Organics Recycling Summit, organized by the Composting Association of Vermont in partnership with Vermont Agency of Natural Resources. This year's summit is being held as a kickoff event for International Compost Awareness Week, which starts this coming Sunday, May 5th. International Compost Awareness Week is the largest and most comprehensive education initiative of the compost industry. And the theme this year is Compost, Nature's Climate Champion. I'd like to give a shout out to this poster here on the right of your screen. It's from a project by UVM students in Dr. Deb Nair's Composting Ecology and Management class. The full collection of the student posters are available on CAV's website at compostingvermont.org/VORS. And each image online in the gallery includes the students' inspiration for their creation. So I just like to highlight that partnership that we have with UVM students and give them some props for putting time and energy into thinking about composting. I'm Natasha Duarte, the director of the Composting Association and host for the summit. And I would like to just start by thanking all of our sponsors and exhibitors without whom we really could not put this whole week-long program on, especially having all of the virtual part of the program for free. So our sponsors this year include Community Bank, Eco Products, Addison County Solid Waste Management District, AgriLab Technologies, Casella, Food Cycler, Nature Cycle, Vermont Natural Ag Products, Viably, CV Compost, the Vermont Produce Program from the Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets, and Woods End Laboratories. So huge thanks to those. And also just want to highlight that five of our sponsors this year are new to the VORS family, so extra thanks for joining and supporting this event. Here we are at today's program, Tuesday, April 30th. We're at the 11 o'clock hour, and we're going to be hearing about implementing full school composting in Georgia, the wins and the worries. And I'm going to introduce today's moderator, Elly Ventura. Elly, many of you know, used to be in Vermont. She was on the CAV board of directors for a number of years and is still continues to be a technical resource for us and has been really helping connect CAV to the greater world and also bring stories from other parts of the country back to us through this summit. So Elly, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and invite you to take it away.
Great. Thanks so much, Natasha, for getting us oriented and for that great introduction. I am Elly Ventura, as Natasha let everybody know, and you can read right by my face, right? I'm the Resource Recovery Manager for World Centric, and we're a manufacturer of certified compostable food service products. And I look forward to VORS every year. So I've had the honor of helping to put it together for several years and attending for, I think this is my 12th consecutive VORS attendance. So I really honestly look forward to this event every year, and it's been great to see the success as we have pivoted formats. And I think there's just incredible value that we can all obtain from participating in VORS every year. And this session is particularly special to me. Lauren and I met through the U.S. Composting Council Young Professionals Mentoring Program earlier this year. Her presentation topic came up often in our mentoring conversations. And I shared some of the really great resources that Vermont has had for executing school programs, including the Upper Valley Super Compost Project. So I'm really happy to be facilitating their story today and to help bring that full circle and to bring CAV to other places of the world and other places of the world to CAV for Vermont. So now I'm going to excitedly introduce our presenters, Lauren and Kate. They are neighbors in Decatur, Georgia. And as we heard, they're going to share their wins and worries of implementing a full school composting program in their local K-5 school with us this morning. Kate Michalak is a middle school teacher, currently taking a break and working full-time, supporting various projects with her kids' 3 different public schools. She has a master's degree in public health, and combined with her preventative health training and experience in the schools, she also has experience as a parent and employee within the school district. So she's currently focusing on ways to improve the school's impact on the environment. Lauren Galucky Hoade is a native New Englander from Maine who's worked predominantly in the media branding and communication service before leaving the corporate ranks of the nonprofit world. She's recently completed her a master's certificates in sustainable behavior and sustainable business practices. And they are going to wow us and entertain us and help us learn about their journey this morning. So please, there will be opportunities throughout their presentation to ask questions. But as you think of things that you want a little bit more information on or questions you want to ask in live time, feel free to drop those into the chat and we will periodically pull those out as we go through the next 50 or so minutes this morning. So ladies, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much, Elly, and welcome everyone. We're so happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. It's so good to be here. This is a great new world that I've entered, and I feel good to be surrounded by like-minded people right now. It's cool. So this is us. We are neighbors, legit. This is our fence that separates us, and I am working currently in the school. I have a role in the PTA, and that's how we really begin this story, along with Lauren, who did, like Elly said, a capstone project.
Yeah, so I completed a capstone last year with my master's certificate, and a lot of learnings from that. A lot of things I thought would work were disproven with this project, but it was kind of just the foundation of getting this starting and getting it into my head. So we live in Decatur, Georgia, and this is Briar Lake Elementary School is the school that we have done this project at. We're DeKalb County, part of the Metro Atlanta area. The school serves pre-K through 5th grade, around 375 students, and the school is specialized for deaf and hard of hearing students, and we are also a future Title I school.
So you can see in the background, this is our kids from last week. This is where we are right now, and we just want to share our journey of how we got here. All right. So who's in the room? Now that you know that pretty much a little bit about us, we just wanted to see where you guys are at, who's thinking about or is on the composting journey right now. So if you could just answer this quick polling question for us.
And Elly, do you have that coming up? Are you able to launch? There we go.
So you can just answer the first question. Who's looking to start, looking to improve, has a successful program, probably could lead the session instead of us, or is intrigued by the title? Oh, nice. Thank you for answering that. I see this gives us a great idea of who we're talking to. I'm glad to see that a lot of you have started this process, and hopefully we can have a little bit of a dialogue in the next hour as well. So please chime in either by comments, or we have a Q&A at the end of every section. Okay, so how did we get started? This is how we got started. This is a week 1 or 2 of the school of our school lunch. We have black styrofoam trays. We have silverware lined by plastic. We have plastic cups holding food. So we have a lot of containers that are wasteful and end up in the landfill. And last year, Lauren went to lunch, and I quickly, if you want to go in on what happened.
Yeah, we, with COVID, we had really not been allowed in the school for a few years. And we had a parent-student luncheon last year, and I was so excited. And I got there and promptly felt like I was going to die. There was just so much waste and so much plastic and styrofoam. And I literally brought it all home with me. I was like, I cannot put this in the trash. And I think I saw
And
Kate in the process.
She did. She came up out my deck and she had the bag of all of these things except for the food in her plastic bag and was like, what can we do? I cannot deal with this. And since I was actually running events and doing in and out of the school, she was just like, is there anything that PTA can do? And that's how it got started. So we sat down and I was, and not knowing this world, Lauren was more in with her capstone. So she was aware of what the parochial school was doing, but we didn't know what our other schools were doing. We live in an area within 5 miles. There's about 5 different schools, and we went and visited them. And we found out about 3 of those 5 schools were actually doing a composting program already. So we talked to the various stakeholders in that. We talked to the front office, we talked to the custodians, we talked to the STEM teacher, we talked to parents. All of these people allowed us into their cafeteria. They were very open. We talked to the students. We saw various ways that they did it at each school, what worked for them. And we walked away thinking that we had to get control of 3 things. And those 3 things were funding, right?
Yeah.
Buy-in and sustainability. So we're going to briefly go over those next things and talk about each one.
Okay.
The funding. So luckily the funding we were able to get from the PTA. It just ended up that we were able to get a lump sum of money. We can go more into that, but we were able to get a lump sum of money to pay for Compost Now for the next year. And I think a big part of that was because our other local schools around us were doing it. It was almost like a competition, like this school's doing it, why can't we? So that was, we were able to get it. And the cost of what we have is what's called Compost Now. It's a commercial composting company that comes, and if you want to do the cost, we knew for the 10 months of the 2023-2024 school year that they would come on a weekly basis, change out our 4 35-gallon bins for $2,400. And then we also bought additional supplies from Amazon, which I have the list included if you guys are interested in that, of various like grabbers, other like materials that we thought, gloves, aprons, that we thought we would need throughout the school year, and that the other schools had gotten and recommended that we get. Give me that one.
Yeah. All right. So for this, for funding, our win was obviously that we got the funding. And our worry was how to sustain the funding. The good news is we were able to go through our school foundation and sort of pitch this to them, and they granted us funding for the 2024-25 school year as well. But it's still an ongoing worry since, you know, we don't know how it will be paid for in perpetuity, but something that we'll keep working on. All right, so I think we'll go to our
Some people have already answered the access question.
Okay, all right, so second poll, who has access?
This is something we were wondering, just because too, we are in a metro area and we don't know what is available to other people in different areas.
Hopefully a lot of what comes out of this presentation can be useful, whether you are using commercial or on-site. We just don't have the experience of doing it on-site. There are a whole other set of benefits and barriers to that approach, but obviously the cost would hopefully be a lot lower.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, I think we can go to our first Q&A. Elly, we can't see you, but if there are any questions, feel free to read them.
Yeah, we don't have any just yet, ladies, but if anyone would like to either raise your hand or come off mute and ask about the beginning parts of this program, feel free to do that. We'll take a minute or two. Okay.
Okay. Okay. That means we're doing awesome. Okay, the second part was the buy-in. This is definitely, I mean, of course you have to secure the funding if you're doing commercial composting, but the buy-in, it's just not going to happen if people aren't into it at the school. We're going to talk about the school buy-in. The school buy-in, the woman on the left is Miss Black. She's our STEM teacher. And then the woman on the right is our principal. So obviously your admin needs to be on board. I walked into her office and presented this idea, and she was kind of on the same level of recycling as I was. Like, I do it because I know that it's good, but we're not really the pushers to do it until you meet your Lauren. So she was all for it. She was like, let's do it. It's the right thing to do. We want to bring it in. And then Miss Black was just a really big component. She was also a lunch monitor in the first part of the lunch. So she was able to be on site and be a teacher and someone of authority in the cafeteria. And then our lunchroom monitors, obviously our lunchroom workers who are behind like serving the food, they were a big support as well, although they were limited by what they were allowed to do by the county. So that's a fight we're going to fight another day, but we'll talk about that more later. And then the person on the horse is our custodian, our head custodian. She obviously, and her two other custodians under her are very, very important in this process of being on board and being open to the change of the routine.
Parents. Okay. So in our research phase, we really heard sort of loud and clear from other schools that we could not rely on parents to make this program successful. And so we tried really hard at the beginning to kind of just do it ourselves, and we found out really quickly that it was not working. It was just too much.
It was not sustainable.
No, not at all. So we created a sign up genius. Sorry, back up. At the first day of school, we had a sign up if people wanted to join our green team. We got a few signatures. We've met a few times. But created the Sign Up Genius link, and our school sends out a weekly email blast. So that was a good opportunity to share that link. And we also created 2 videos to kind of try to generate some interest.
Facebook posts.
Yes, all of that. So 2 kind of back-to-back videos of how we were trying to engage with parents to get their help.
Hi, thank you for volunteering with Compost, the Green Team Committee. Rebecca and I'm Kate Michalak, Rebecca and I are going to run through what you guys are going to do once you get here. So this is the setup. We have trash, compost now where all the food goes. This is where you're going to stack the recycled stuff. We only stack it here because it takes up so much space in here. So we stack it first and then we put it in here after the lunch is done. And then this is where the trays are. Right now we still have the black styrofoam, but we're getting the compostable trays. So Rebecca and I,
So this video was more to explain that I think when parents here coming into the cafeteria to do compost, that they get intimidated by what that task is. Because of COVID, a lot of our parents do work at home. So in my mind, I was like, they could just pop over for 30 minutes, help with the compost and be done with it. But I think that I found that it was an intimidating jaunt to do. So we put out that video just to explain what it actually was, and tried to be as informal as we could. And then another one was we have a lot of Spanish speaking families. And as Lauren said, our school is a hub for kids with deaf and hard of hearing. So we had a trifecta parent put on Facebook this little message.
Hey Briar Lake, this is our volunteer today, Miss Cortez.
Hey everyone, I came to help the school keep green. Hola a todos, vine a ayudar a la escuela a quedarse verde.
Thank you.
So she was a great advocate for maybe a population that we don't would see come into the school building often. So that was great too.
Yes, so parents, we had their support, we had their buy-in, but we knew, we knew couldn't sustain it. And so I think our win for this section was that we got the support from admin and the parents, but the worry was still like, who is really going to own this long term? Any questions? Yeah.
There is a question, and you addressed it a little bit in your intro video there, but the question is, were you replacing styrofoam with durable washable trays or moving everything to compostables?
I mean, don't you wish those washable trays were back? We all remember the washable trays, but no, it was something where we had to call the county and say and our principal had to send in a letter and say that we were now a compostable school. But so since we got the compost contract, they sent us compostable trays from then on out. So interestingly enough, it's either compostable trays or something that is not compostable or even landfill friendly at all.
Yeah. And I think ultimately, yes, we would love to have reusable. Our school does not have the staff. We were told we actually didn't have a dishwasher. I don't know if that's true or not.
We have a broken dishwasher.
We have a broken dishwasher. And then we don't have staff to actually man it. So ultimately, yes, I hope to get back to the mid-80s and be doing these things just a better way. But for now, yeah, it was styrofoam or compostables. Great question.
Right. You also got compliments on the trilingual message as well.
She's great. Yeah.
And then
ask a follow-up question on that, Elly?
Sure, Karen. Yeah, please.
Thanks. So in terms of, I understand you can go to a durable, washable thing. So are those costs equal? Is the school district covering the cost differential? Usually compostable trays, unfortunately, are not as cheap as styrofoam, and we can talk about that. But is that another cost that you have to bear, or is someone else covering?
No, the county does actually bear that cost. It's just a matter of changing what your order. I guess that it gives us the cafeteria manager the okay to order the compostable trays if we have a compost system in place.
Gotcha.
But the county does bear that cost. Yes.
Great.
Great. Another question, ladies. How did you attain custodial involvement?
I'm not going to lie, that was tough. It was. You can see that I got the horse picture from the head custodian because of having that interaction with her, of just trying to really foster that relationship. And then, so at the start of the year, we only had two custodians, but then in, I want to say November, we got a third one hired. And it was just, I mean, to their credit, it's a lot of building that they have to cover. And they really have since then, and us showing up every day and really trying to ask what they need and what would make their job more efficient, their job easier, from cafeteria behavior to what the monitor should be doing. It has now flourished into a great relationship. Mr. Wilmore now goes ahead and takes the compostable trays out when they're getting taller, where at the beginning they were just unsure of it. And it wasn't something that was overnight.
Yeah,
by far.
It's a good point that we were there and we were not expecting them to take the compost out, to do anything. It was sort of a weird unspoken, I don't know if
respect.
They thought, or if they thought we were maybe trying to create additional work for them. It definitely was a little weird at the beginning. And I think they quickly realized that we were just trying to help the school reduce waste, bottom line.
And bottom line is that we wanted the ownership to go to the students. This should be something that they are able to do just as easy as throwing things away in a landfill trash. They should be able to categorize their trash and learn how to take on that ownership within their own community.
Great. Do you feel like taking 2 more questions in this section?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like, just to kind of wrap that up, really intentional respect and relationship building helped to bring the rest of the players in this system into, I don't know, compliance is a word that wants to come out of my mouth, but that's not the right word.
I know. It was like, I think I spoke to one of the custodial staff and just be like, we're walking into your house. Like, please tell us what is beneficial, what is not with reaching this goal, because they do like the goal of like helping the earth. They're not like against it, but it is doing it in an efficient way and not making their jobs harder or less efficient.
Right, great. Okay, so this next question is about staffing. We talked about staffing issues preventing the ability to wash trays. Did you guys directly address any of those staffing issues? And then if you could talk a little bit more about staffing issues related to monitoring the disposal bins in the lunchroom.
Okay, so do you want?
So staffing for the kitchen, I didn't personally get too into that. We were just
It's
told
a
that-
numbers game.
Yeah.
Like the cafeteria manager said, we have to get to this amount of students that eat the lunch in order to get another body in there. So if our students aren't eating the lunch, then they're not going to staff that. So it's a numbers. Next year, we're going to be Title I. I don't know if that's going to affect our numbers with kids that eat lunch there, but that's what dictates the staff. As far as monitoring the bins, we would already have 3 to 5 adults in the cafeteria monitoring it at one point, at any point given throughout the day. It's just setting the expectations of what that monitoring looks like, what the kids should do, what the staff should do, what the other adults should do in the cafeteria.
I think it's a good segue into our next section about sustainability. Were there any more questions, Elly?
Just one quick one on whether or not the black plastic cups and bowls are also going to be transitioned to compostables.
There is not an item order on their list that they can order from the county from that, but that's another staffing issue. They preset, and we'll show you a picture. They preset like fruit in that black tray because of, we don't know. We haven't gotten to the bottom of that. That's a systemic change.
Yes. Yeah. There are some things where we've kind of hit a wall and it has felt like, okay, we have to save this and just kind of pick our battles. But yes, the black plastic, I have literally brought home bags of those to put into my personal home recycling. So it's an ongoing struggle. Yes. Okay. So sustainability. So this was always in the back of our minds, especially when we were visiting the other schools, like how do we make this program stand on its own? And without the parents, we have the school's buy-in. And so we are going to take you through that now. So we started with education.
One thing I did mention earlier was Miss Black, the STEM teacher, and she was able to incorporate in hers. I don't know how your schools are set up with STEM, but hers is a standalone class. So she did a curriculum based on composting. So every day with the kids for about a week or two, they talked about composting, why it's important. And then I joined her a few times where we actually went into the cafeteria and looked at different ways of making it efficient. Like we got fake food, we put it on the black styrofoam trays because this was in the first couple weeks of school, and we talked about like how we can like put all the food on one side of the tray, all the landfill trash on another side of the tray. We talked big about if you don't want the milk, don't get the milk. If you don't open your silverware, put it back and return it. There's little things that as a group hopefully made a difference within the landfill trash. And the kids really took to it. They owned it. They put up their posters everywhere. They understood why the routine was changing in the cafeteria, which they were used to the previous years. And it also helped the teachers see that that there is a change and that this was a culture that we really wanted to adopt. So that has helped with sustainability.
Yes. Next, we kind of tried to prioritize creating a logo and making a brand, and then how we were going to communicate this. So just trying to keep everything consistent and clear. I think it's really important, you know, especially at the very beginning. So we did some flyers to try to get people to volunteer to help. We had our impact report up on a bulletin board in the cafeteria. We made aprons, we made signs. So just trying to keep it all really consistent and clear. The bottom right is the kids'
Rules.
pact with themselves. Yes. So just to help, you know, try to make it as consistent as possible.
So yeah, I mean, it is goes to the kids, right? They've, especially the older kids, have really taken ownership, and that's another. If you have any impact on the order or the scheduling of the lunches to kind of try to make the older kids go with the younger kids, that was not the thing in our school, and we're not going to be able to impact that schedule. I've come to terms with, but we have gotten teachers to agree to send like a second grader up during the pre-K throwing away, which is like 5 minutes before the second grade starts lunch, which is great because now pre-K just does it on their own. And it's so cute because they're so small and they are just like composting away with no help. And it's just been a big thing you can see is the aprons. It's almost like a uniform. It's a sense of pride. They get up and leave their lunch early, which sounds terrible to me, but they love to do and boss other kids around in a respectful way. So yeah, they've really taken ownership over it.
Yeah, so we have a few kids who really do take it very, very seriously. So we have a video of him that we will show you now.
So this is Jonah. He's a 5th grader here at Briar Lake. He's one of our top composters. Jonah, what do you like about composting?
I like it because sometimes I finish lunch early, so I like that I'm able to go and like help people throw away their trays so that it can help the environment do better.
Do you think that your classmates have, and the rest of the school, and as an older student, do you think that they are able to do it on their own?
I would say that yes, they're pretty capable of doing it on their own. Although it's just a lot easier having like multiple people there so that someone can like handle different parts of it.
Yeah, you guys came together and did your own little shifts, right?
Yeah, we're currently trying to start a 3rd shift with the 3rd in command, Jackson. He's going to be in charge of the 3rd shift.
Do you have, so I think that was pretty successful for you guys working together. Do you have any worries about this? Because you're leaving the school next year. What do you think that should happen to make it successful for next year?
I do have some worries. I'm a little worried that like 4th grade, because they're not super ready, but like they're learning slowly. But pretty much they just have like a few key things to master, and then it's pretty much good. But I think that it's going to do pretty well.
Well, thank you, Jonah, very much. You've been a big help this year.
Thank you.
So he is one of one of many. They take it seriously. This is another thing. So this is just hopefully that we're just establishing a culture that it'll be able to sustain. We will be able to sustain. There's another student here as she's going through the various stations of helping each other, getting a side eye a little bit, but they've really, at first they didn't like touching it. They were more intrigued by the trash can of food but now they're over it. They could just see where it goes and they move on. It really does not take any longer than before. Just a little pro tip that we learned from the other schools that we visited is stacking the compostable trays takes up a lot less room. So we stack them and then we put them in the compost bin after lunch. The grabbers, there's no need to get more than 2 grabbers. I think we have 6 at the time right now. And it is just an invitation to sword fights. I don't know, but it's not, you just no need to get more than 2, but they are helpful when they are used appropriately. It was a big thing too, to have these tables in between the cans. and to only have one station of throwing something away in the cafeteria, so that it's less to monitor. They're able to put down the trays when they need to dispose of their things, especially for the younger kids. That's been a big help. And I'd have to say there's a lot less spills.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is a picture of, this was just the other day, just organized chaos is like we to call it. They all have one set routine or place that they have to go get up. One side of the table gets up, goes towards the stage and walks around the cafeteria. You can see the fifth graders all have their spot. One kid telling the other kid when the station is open, and then the other two there monitoring, make sure that the correct trash is going in the correct bin, and making it sure it's stacked properly at the end. You can see the blue bin in the back there. That's where recently we've gotten a company that has gifted us a cleaning of those bins. So we are able to do a residential recycling now, but it's not sustainable right now. I don't have any funding for that next year, and I don't know, we need to further follow up to see if they're actually being recycled, but we're trying that out right now. So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the win, obviously getting the trays is a big deal. But there is just so much excess. Oh yeah, so much excess.
Plastic.
So it's very disheartening, and it helps a little bit that we're recycling it, but these are things that, these are not at a school level of decision making. So it really is probably working with other schools to figure out how we can influence the purchasing behavior of the county. And that has been something that we just haven't had the time or energy, I guess, to
Next year is our year
to tackle. But I think it's really important that we not just accept this.
Like up in the upper left-hand corner is one kid's lunch. Like if they choose the salad option, they get a salad tray, all those things in it, all separately packaged, and they get a compostable tray with their other side. It's crazy. And we've approached the cafeteria manager about this before, and she's essentially and respectfully saying, my hands are tied. If someone comes in and looks at the procedure, this is the procedure. So we haven't done our due diligence of really finding out what the ins and outs of it is. Is it just something that hasn't evolved? Is it something that we actually can push back on? But like Lauren said, I think it's going to take a united front to actually get the county to make better purchasing decisions.
Right, I think we have our third and final poll. So now you've heard some of our obstacles. We'd love to hear or see which ones you guys have experienced.
Yeah, is it the funding? Is it the leadership, the environmental issues if you're doing it on site, the lack of interest from the community, or you have other problems that we would love to hear about?
Questions and comments are pouring in, ladies.
Okay, we can start if you.
Yeah, we have
who created your logo?
Lauren did.
I wondered about that.
She's awesome.
It helps just to have, we were kind of talking about, and I think it does just help you to kind of just be unified with your messaging, and just something fun so that people you can slap it on stuff.
Yeah, it's a brand. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, that was the comment. Carrie commented that it's a nice logo. It looks like Kate, you and Sarah were talking a little bit about the option of kids washing their own trays.
Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. We would have to that's when it would be ultimate buy-in, right? Like the naysayers would be like, what if they had a water fight? Where do we get the trays from? They're not allowed back in the kitchen with really hot water. Like, there's so many things that you have to follow through the bureaucracy of being a state school rather than like a private school. But God, that would be awesome. And why shouldn't they clean their own trays? We expect our kids to clean their own plates at home. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. So that's awesome.
There was a potential like health code comment too, maybe
that type of stuff, like stuff that I don't know.
Yeah. High praise for Jonah too. What a great enthusiastic monitor leader he's become. And then have you established a green team? And then are the kids who are wearing the aprons part of the green team?
No, we could definitely do better on that. That's something that I think once I would be interested to see how the teachers approach that next year, now that they see what kind of role they could have, of creating more of that type of community within the classroom. So no, that is something definitely that we could work on for sure.
Yeah, we've had a recycling club in the past. We have a gardening club, but a lot of times you would hope a teacher would sort of be the sponsor of that, and we have not had a teacher step up to sponsor that. So hopefully in the future, because I think that right now the kids that we didn't really talk about this, but the kids who are helping at the beginning of the year, that was designated in some classrooms by the teachers. It was part of like just a role in the class. I think that has sort of fallen off, but now it really, at least with the older kids, they just they go, they eat quickly, and then they know where they're supposed to be.
And that might have been like Lauren and I went and spoke to the teachers during pre-planning. Did I talk about that? During pre-planning, just saying like what was coming up, like what we would like to do. And I might have sold it a little bit, saying that they wouldn't have to do anything extra. So if I could make my magic wand and go back in time, I would have been a little bit more of like, these are the expectations. And I've been a classroom teacher. So just trying to sell it in a different spin rather than saying that it's another thing. It's not another thing. It's just doing your things differently.
Change.
Yeah, there was a question about reducing the overall plastic, and I think you addressed that a bit by looking at procurement and sort of the district purchasing office. And I just want to echo Rhonda's comments saying you're doing a great job. I know this is wins and worries, but the wins are remarkable and impressive, and you've done incredible progress in a relatively short period of time. And I think your eyes are directed on the right place to enhance and continue to improve, but absolutely take the time to celebrate what you've accomplished, because it's impressive. And then let's have a look at the polling results here, if you wanted to address any of those.
I mean, seeing the buy-in from leadership, that's a real bummer. We had that, maybe I could have seen that about 2 years ago with a principal that we had. Not that she was like anti-environment. It's more like the leadership has to be approachable and accessible. And if you don't have that, that's hard. That is hard.
Yeah. And I really think without it, it's just going to be a very uphill battle if you don't have that. I mean, she's not in the cafeteria, she's not physically doing any of the work, but just knowing that we have her support, it just it gave us the green light to then do what we need to do and figure it out.
And the funding too, we tripped on the funding, like before we found out that PTA could pay for it. We were looking up grants. We were trying to see how other schools were funding it. Most of it was from their foundations. That foundations are a big thing around here. I don't know at public schools. I don't know how it is in your community, but it's just the idea that foundations, I guess, can keep the money they raise, and PTAs have to spend the money they raise that year. So funding is it's a big deal for sure. And lack of interest for the community, I can say that I wouldn't have been, I'd been like, what? This seems like a lot of trash, if it wasn't for an educated Lauren who was like, no, this doesn't have to be this way. So
we've got about 8 to 10 minutes left. Would you like to continue Q&A? If you want advance on through the presentation.
Have a few more
We
slides.
just have a few more slides. So
This is all the happy
Great.
stuff.
yeah, this is all good.
So this, so Compost Now is great because they provide monthly data to us so that we can see the impact that we're having and then share that with our stakeholders and school, and we put it in the newsletter. So that's been a really, really amazing bonus of using them. And so every month we get one of these. This one's from April. You can see that we have diverted almost 8,479 pounds of waste since August, and they have some really funny data points. So it's the potential tomato potential of compost 6,359 tomatoes. And then, they also partner with growers, so you can see how you've had an impact on them. So that's been it's just great to have those numbers and to be able to share them. So it's a lot.
This coming up, this is our favorite little guy. The camera's about to go to him, Grayson, who you can see how the branding works. This was, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, maybe. So he does this every day, but he picks up his straw, he picks up his milk, and it's like, where does this go? Let me think about it. Oh, I can see on the sign that it goes here. So it does, like, the branding of it does matter to allow the kids just to have a little check-in of where things go. But he's great. He's come a long way.
Very, very serious.
Very serious, always serious.
Yeah. So here's that number again, but then also we found out from the custodians at the beginning of the year that they were taking out at minimum 7 bags of trash every single lunch or every single day.
Lunch, yeah.
And so we've gotten that down. I think honestly we could get it to 1, but we've gotten it down to 2.
It's those milk cartons.
Yeah, which we wish they just wouldn't take. But so that feels just like significant to go from 35 to 10. And then, obviously would love to not have so much waste, but still happy that it's at least not going to the landfill. All right.
I mean, I think we've talked about our future vision. It's just to get rid of, like, that plastic is just less coming from the county. So so our kids aren't having to decide where it goes. Like, I think that's a good vision.
Yeah, that, and we haven't really talked about it, but another thing we've sort of had to grapple with this year is the food waste and what to do with it. We had witnessed share tables at other schools. We've been told very directly that we cannot do that. I cannot say that I've always adhered to that.
She never has.
I never have, but I don't want to jeopardize the program, so we do have to be respectful of the school, but at the same time, it feels just absolutely ridiculous to be throwing perfectly good produce or milk or anything away. So that's something that I hope we can continue to work on and figure out a way to limit.
And that's pretty much it. Thank you. Any questions or?
Yeah, I'd like to invite, if there's anybody in attendance who wants to ask Lauren and Kate a question directly, you can come off of mute right now.
Or a success you've had that would help us tackle the problems, the worries.
And ladies, there are some great comments in the chat too that can give you a little bit more feedback that you were looking for. I know that was one of the objectives you were excited about with this opportunity, is to hear from other people in the room too about what has worked for them or challenges that they have overcome. And Kat has shared a great resource in the chat there. And Kate, if you would be comfortable, the composter information document that you sent, if I would like to drop that in the chat for everyone too.
Yeah, of
that
course.
Would be okay. Okay,
I did
great.
I asked my administrator if would it be help, because I'm leaving the school, or my kids are leaving the school, but just like a guide for next year of what we think could help the program a little bit, and she was open to it, so I was excited about that. I don't know if she'll use it, but
I think that's the you hope that you can create policy so that whether you're there or not, the program can sustain. So yeah, I hope that, we can also use this document as we go off to other schools too, because there will definitely be different barriers anywhere you go, but
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask this question and then we'll go to Rhonda. What are foundations and what did the PTO pay for?
So we have a PTA, which is a little bit different from a PTO. PTO has a little bit more leniency or a little bit more ownership. But the foundation, the difference between the PTA and the foundation is the foundation works up as like a just like any foundation does, where you can spend them. You don't have as many rules. You're not tied to like having to spend all your money that you raise. That it's pretty much not a charity foundation. I think it's not a nonprofit. That's what it is. It's not a nonprofit where like all I know is the PTA has to spend their budget, and the foundation they at our school runs as like big project money, like projects. Like we tried to like fund the back deck on our school, things that the county won't take care of. Or think of it as an addition. The foundation is just a separate entity that has a lot more freedom of what they're going to do with the money that they raise from the families at the school, if that makes sense. And we don't have as many rules of how we raise the money.
Okay, great. Rhonda in Burlington, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Great job, by the way. So proud. I have a question. I've been working with a school in Cumming, Georgia, here in Vermont. I mean, virtually, obviously not in person. And I know that they don't sort anything there. And so I was wondering, like, if you guys have any knowledge of like how many commercial compost operations are in Georgia, or at least in the greater Atlanta area, because I think they're maybe like an hour and a half or so outside of Atlanta. But like, how did you guys find this composter that would accept yourself, just to give them a little hope, maybe a little avenue to travel down?
Sure. Yeah. So Cumming is probably about an hour from us. I'm pretty confident that they are not in Compost Now's service area. I know that they're always expanding, but and I can double check and let you know for sure. But we have another one called Gooder, but I think both of them are more focused on sort of the metro counties and area. So I don't know if that would be an option for them, but I know they could recycle, if nothing else, I would think.
And Rhonda, you and I can connect too on commercial composting options in Georgia. I'll find you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I know again that they're growing every day. So maybe they will. It would be great. They're really, really wonderful.
So I think I have one more question for you. And that is from Shannon. Have you ever been involved with your county school food and nutrition program to discuss the sortation of fruits and vegetables?
So wait, to be involved with the what? I'm sorry.
Your county school food and nutrition program.
Honestly, they are like 2 streets over from us right now. I'm on their voicemail. I've threatened in my head that I will just walk over there and walk in. So no, that not to the point of where we want to be, but that is something that we have already discussed of like, that's our next fight. Not that our school program was even a fight. It was just like it was just doing it. But I think that one is more going to be a big change. DeKalb County is a enormous county. And it just, I think when you have to take over DeKalb County, it's just taken over a lot of change. And it's just, yeah, that's our hope for sure.
Yes, but great point. Thank you.
Great. And Cody has a few comments in here. I think it might be interesting for you guys to connect directly.
I read Cody's and so I looked into this too because I wasn't understanding what our cafeteria manager was saying. Cody is talking about having like what I was told that it's a federal thing that you have to have like 5 servings of food or something, where they have to pick 3 fruits or 2 vegetables, 1 main, 1 side. Like there's some sort of formula to to the serving, even if the kids don't want it.
Yeah.
So I've seen kids directly go from the line to the trash can, not even, so it's just like a food line to trash can route, and then go to sit down. And you're just like, and supposedly it's some federal thing. I don't know if Cody is talking about that.
Shannon just put some info in the chat. 3 out of 5. It's a USDA My
Yeah,
Plate.
3 out of 5. The My Plate. So I was just, yeah. Where do you even start with that?
Lauren and Kate, would you guys want to share your contact information in the chat for people?
Yeah.
And then Rhonda just commented about the My Plate program as well. For schools to get federal reimbursement, they have to have 3 out of 5 servings. And then that was fantastic. Thank you, Lauren and Kate, so much for sharing your real experience with us.
Thank you for having
Yes,
us.
this has been great. Thank you guys.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Natasha, I will have you close us out.
All right. So yes, thank you for this fabulous presentation and for joining our community here up in Vermont. And I'm just going to give a highlight to our next session. We're going to continue some of the similar threads are going to be pulled in the next session. It's from 1 to 2 today, and it's called Urban Abundance, Neighborhood Composting, and Food Rescue. So today we're sort of pulling along the lines of similar themes of food rescue and composting and community. And thanks to all of our participants for engaging with us today. And thanks again, Lauren and Kate. This was really fabulous. And thank you, Elly, as well, for moderating.